Let me ask you a question. When you're filming, in this one in particular, there's a scene where I think the lead actress had all this hair coming out of her mouth. She's pulling out hair, but there's a whole head of hair. When you say cut, does everybody in the crew applaud? Like they're just seeing like a magician pull out a satin handkerchief from his mouth? They're like, how do you like make that moment light afterwards?
No, yeah. It's like,
it's like, yay!
It's a good day for a good day. Sending big love in a big way, yeah.
Do you know anyone whose second feature they directed made $83 million worldwide? Well, you do now. F Javier Gutierrez is on the podcast. How you doing, bud?
Hey, hello.
I'm happy you're here. Good to see you.
Good to see you. Great to see you.
Question for you. Okay, The Rings. I want to talk about Rings for a second. That was written by arguably the biggest Hollywood writers ever, Akiva Goldsman, who had written, 2 different Batman movies, Da Vinci Code, Beautiful Mind. He has a new Star Trek TV series coming out. How did you get that movie? How'd that come about?
Everything started like I was at the time working on the Crow movie.
The Crow, I remember this. Yes.
Yes. So I was there for a while. Then we got the call from Walter Parks, that's the original producer of the Ring franchise.
Yeah, Walter Parks.
Yeah, I met Walter, his team, and they were developing the movie for a while. It was pretty fast, actually. I have to say. They like it Before the Fall. He watched Before the Fall.
Right.
And he thought like the visuals, the sensitivity could work into the world of the Ring franchise. And then from that point on was everything very fast. They have a draft that they have been working for a while, and then later in the process, Akiva came and do his magic.
He has magic, doesn't he?
Yeah, it was pretty fast, I have to say.
Wow.
Yes.
That's even more incredible. It came to fruition that quickly, and it was just your second feature. Let me ask you a question. When you're filming, in this one in particular, there's a scene where I think the lead actress had all this hair coming out of her mouth. She's pulling out hair, but there's a whole head of hair. When you say cut, does everybody in the crew applaud? Like they're just seeing like a magician pull out a satin handkerchief from his mouth? They're like, how do you like make that moment light afterwards?
No, yeah. It's like
it's like, yay! It's like, do us more.
Yeah, it's like let's do it again.
Oh
no. It was great, and he's great. Matilda did really well. And it was very realistic, actually, because actually it was not CGI.
Come on.
Yeah.
I thought for sure it was CGI. That's why I was saying, of course it's all CGI.
We had amazing work by Ariane 210, who took care of all the basic makeup effects and things. And it was really pulling.
Yes. She was really pulling out.
It was, yes.
Because I just saw the other day on YouTube, I saw some guy that was showing the trick how to do it with a satin handkerchief. You roll it all up and you put it inside your mouth, but real quick, and then you just have to pull and it'll go like that. So it's like
a magic trick.
Yeah. Did she put a whole head inside her mouth to do it? That's what I'm saying, because it looked pretty crazy. How do you get Antonio Banderas to produce your first feature that you directed?
That's a long story, actually.
Well, we have time. It was a series. His first movie, he directed feature. He's done, shorts but it's your first feature. Antonio Banderas is a producer. It's like a dream come true.
It was a big surprise for me too. At the time, I made a short film. It was called Brazil. You actually can find in YouTube. Got a lot of awards and attention. Got a Sitges Film Festival award. Got in the
big
shortlist
festivals
for the Oscars and everything. At that time, I was in Berlin. Actually, I went to the Berlin Festival, but not because of the Berlin Festival. Actually, I was there with a girlfriend that she was from Berlin.
Okay.
And I ran into not Antonio Banderas, but another producer that is a good friend now. It's called Antonio Perez, who ran into me after a screening. He told me, "Look, you are Javier Gutierrez, right? It's like I've been trying to reach you. We had no idea where you were, so it's very funny to find you here in Berlin. And we are trying to find a director for a very unique project that I'm putting together with my partners. I had no idea who were the partners. And then after, pretty much we went to party after, where he introduced me. His partner was Antonio Banderas. It was shocking.
You didn't know going into it was his partner?
Yeah, no, I had no idea. I mean, I just went with the flow, okay. Because I was at the time, I just finished my short film. I was putting together scripts and doing things. I was in my, in my own world.
Oh, yeah.
I was having holidays in Berlin, not even thinking about the festival or anything like that. Was my girlfriend who dragged me to the festival actually to see a movie, because I was I don't want to know.
Because of her, you're here today.
I know.
And I'm sure you're still with that girl right now. No.
But she's very happy.
But that's great though. Isn't it crazy how one event like that, you're doing this and that, I'll go, I don't know. And then in a way, your life changes at that moment.
It happens like that. And to me, it has been like very magic and romantic in that regard.
Yeah.
Those things, because I never really, I mean, you plan it always somehow.
Yeah, you're trying
but
to
it
plan.
never works like you expect.
No.
Or, you know.
No, it doesn't. Now, you have another big horror movie coming out. We have to wait for it. It's not coming out just yet. We got to wait. You know what I'm saying? The wait's going to kill me to wait so long for it. Give me the title of this movie that I have to wait for a couple months.
It's called The Wait.
Oh my God, it's called The Wait. I never knew that. Because I know this much. Now, it's a horror movie, yes?
Yeah,
So-
it has like a supernatural horror elements.
Because what I know about these, when it's not out yet, you have to all the secrets of it, because they have these supernatural horror elements. You can't tell a lot of people too much about what it is. You got to keep those secrets tightly under wraps. And by the way, that's actually a good idea for another movie you can make called Under Wraps. Follow me for a second. I like this idea. It just came to me. A beautiful girl, maybe she's from Berlin, who's obsessed with the beauty until like a doctor botches a medical procedure. She is going to get back and make everyone look just like her. It's going to be under wraps. Produced, directed, written by Javier Gutierrez. Story by Greg Lindsay. Okay, maybe not. But anyway, enough about being under wraps. But what can you tell us about that movie that won't spoil anything, and it's coming out and all that stuff?
And The Wait is has a lot to do with my first movie, with Before the Fall.
Oh.
Because it's kind of like, it's a supernatural Western, neo-Western, set up in the 70s in Spain, in the same universe than Before the Fall.
Okay.
I just, like, after finishing Ring, I felt the need to do something very personal.
Mm-hmm.
And obviously, in order to do that, I wanted to go back to the south of Spain, where I'm
Yes,
originally
we're going to get
from.
into that in a minute. Yeah, you're from
Yeah.
Spain, yeah.
And to shoot something out of the box, something very, I was working on this script that was like a hard one to make. Again, like Before the Fall, the first time we tried to put together the movie Before the Fall, nobody really wanted to be part of it because it was kind of crazy and wild.
Right.
To do an end of the world movie in Spain with a budget of $1 million or something.
Wow.
It was pretty crazy.
Yeah.
So to convince actually the cast that we got, like Edward Fernandez or Victor Calijo, Edward is like
Huge.
Huge in Spain.
Huge in Spain.
Yeah, it was really hard. So with this one was equally crazy because once you see the movie, you understand it. It's because it has like a very weird look and a very violent thing going on that you can see coming. But the good thing is that now all those actors, they wanted to be part of it because they knew Before the Fall already.
Oh, they did. Oh,
Yeah,
that's
it's
great.
So I was beautiful to cast the movie. I got like a really good cast, and I think you can tell when you watch the movie.
Yeah.
It's the performances are very great. All of them, they are really good actors.
Sure.
From Spain.
That's the key.
And it has like an international appeal. It's like a movie that is very local regarding takes place with the background of the hunting world
Okay.
in Spain. But
Okay,
it's just
we
like
can talk about this a little bit. Hunting world back there, hunting world in Spain, a little bit to know.
in the
Okay.
70s.
In the
But
70s.
It's very realistic how it used to be. So it's very interesting in that
Yeah,
regard,
yeah.
culturally speaking. But at the same time, it talks about emotions and connections and a family and go deeper and deeper and has different layers. And one of them is like everything kind of goes around the guilt.
Oh.
Can be a little bit dense, but
Yes, yes.
has
as a-
a little bit of everything. But,
Yeah.
But in the surface, it's like a very it's a supernatural thriller, folk horror set in the 70s.
Oh, and you
So-
wrote this.
Oh yeah.
You wrote this.
Yeah, I write mostly everything I do.
Everything. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's great.
except for
Rings.
Yes.
Yes. But it's okay if you're not going to write something. Let Akiva Goldsman be the writer
absolutely,
as well as
Great.
Yeah, that's not bad. Now this movie is in festivals, so yeah. Except for Rings, you pretty much write everything that you direct. Were you a writer before you were a director?
Yeah, well, no, actually, it started at the same time.
Oh.
I made my short films. I wrote them and I direct them always. I do the editing and I usually do the production design and everything too.
Yeah.
So
my
I get
God.
very, very involved.
Stop shop.
It's pretty crazy. But in this one, I could do it like in the old times. So I felt that I was doing like a big short film, like in that regard, because I had my hands all over the place.
You had a lot of control on this one here.
Yeah.
It's a big difference, as we all know, when you can do a movie and have more control, especially as the writer and director, your vision, as a writer, you always feel when you give it to a studio or whoever you give it to, and they make it, well, it's never 100% your version. They take it, they do changes to it. People come in, they do this, and the director comes in, he makes his own changes. But when you are the writer and director and you have the power to do it the way you get to show people this is exactly the movie that I want to make, it's great.
It is great because, as you said, as a writer, and I suffer because I know a lot of writers, a lot of times they give you the script. I'm very respectfully with that, like obviously with Akiva and with everybody I have been working on it. I try just to be respectful with the original script and do some tweaks because visually, you have to bring it to your work.
Right.
But when you have the chance to write and then direct, it's like really the only thing you have to change from the original vision is like budget-wise.
Yes.
Yes. You go to the set and suddenly instead of have like the car chase or the helicopters, it's like, okay, it's not going to happen ever.
So there's 1,000 people that are there. Exactly.
No,
it's like 10 people there.
10 people flying. Well, we just point the camera to that little corner there.
Right. It looked like,
and make it shaky a little bit.
Exactly. Well, also, sometimes directors, correct me if I'm wrong, will take a script and then they will start to make their own changes and then they will submit their name as a writer on it, but then get also credit.
I think in the US,
in the US,
it happens like something like that. And it actually happens, I have to say, because I've been a lot in development, not like a writer here, because I just am like a director and I'm not interested when it's not my own thing.
Right.
But I have to say, I see even writers that when they do a pass, they just touch for the sake of touching.
Yeah.
So they change like more than 60% is,
I
don't know the rule or something like that.
Something like that.
So they get into...
They always want to get into the arbitration, the WGA arbitration, so they can get their name on this and have another name of this. Yes.
Which is, I have to say, from writer point of view, it's a little bit messy because sometimes you have a good script that needs like a little polish.
A little polish.
Or a couple of sequences, or maybe like 30%. Still good.
Yeah.
But you don't need to touch things that they work.
Exactly.
And when you're a director and you see that thing and those like energies trying to
they want to put that stamp on it.
Yeah. It's really complex, the process. And you have to be there to be able to say, okay, this is good. Great, let's use this, but this part you don't really need to touch it, because then you enter in what happened here in the US a lot, like a health development process.
Yes.
It's never right because there is too many writers involved.
Too many.
And they keep giving like different versions. They are just different versions, not like better.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. If something's working, but they already made other changes, they feel like, I'm going to just change those. I see that a lot. A lot of times if I write something, let's say if I'm doing something with somebody and like I write something and like the parts that work really well, I notice some people, let me just touch this up. Let me change, because they want to be part of that really funny part.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Like, I wrote that with him. I wrote that with Greg, I seen this,
I usually stops being funny.
Yes, exactly. Because then it's like, then it stops being as good as it was. So wait, so you're from España. See, by the way, I took 6 years of Spanish.
Come on.
Yeah, and this is what I remember my 11th grade teacher telling me.
Te voy a hablar en español a partir de ahora.
Los. This is what I remember her saying. Gregorio, levántese. Cierra la boca, siéntese. Which I think means something like, Greg, stand up, shut your mouth, now sit down.
Shut up.
That's all I know in Spanish from the 6 years of Spanish I took, besides Somos Buenos Amigos and así, and that's the extent of my...
That's so funny.
Did you go to college for this? Did you go to film school?
No, I didn't.
Really?
I wanted to make movies since I was like a kid, since I remember. My family was very conservative. They didn't think like there's no industry in
Being an
Spain.
Accountant. Something
like that.
Yeah, something that is real.
Be a lawyer.
Yeah, exactly.
And I studied law. That's
okay.
what I did. Like 5 years of law.
Oh,
So I finished my degree law.
You're an intelligent guy over here. Okay. Mr. Law guy.
That's why I don't like to make movies about lawyers.
Right.
That's like enough.
You lived that life, basically.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. So you didn't go to school for that. But how did you, but you always wanted to make movies. So when you were younger, you started making little things on your own?
Yeah. I started to do like while I was in the university.
Sure.
We call it there because we don't have like the college. When we are 18, we enter in the university.
Oh, okay.
So after high school, let's say we enter. I was there and I started to, first of all, I did acting.
Oh, wanted to be in front of the camera at first.
Yeah,
Oh.
to get to know everything.
We all want to be in front of the camera. I know.
No, I was not really that interested. But I thought it was a fun thing to get to know the other side. I always wanted to tell the story. And at some point, because it was the only thing that there was when I was 14, I joined like my first acting classes.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow, that was
Because
before
it
I
was-
even started it. So
It was
good
like,
for you.
I did it for a couple of years in my school, like 13, 14,
Yeah.
15. And it's a funny story. I made like a scandal or something. I think that's why they stopped doing the acting
Oh, really?
classes.
In that school? What'd you do?
It was a Catholic school, so we are all kids. I was writing the script for this special thing that we were gonna do at the end of the year in my school. I came up with this idea of like a kind of like Agatha Christie, Sherlock Holmes kind of mystery.
Sure.
And of course, I needed girls because I had like couples coming for a dinner, all the guests, like
Sure.
within the play, right? So I had no girls because we were like a boy.
Yeah, all
like,
boys school.
All boys school.
Yeah.
So I just had this brilliant idea. I went to a place that I knew a friend that had like a costume Halloween things, and I said I need like a lot of like wigs. And clothing for girls, and
Sure.
and the parents they didn't know.
Oh.
So
Like, what are we watching? A drag show or something? I don't know.
yeah, when the curtain opened, and it was pretty wild.
That's so funny.
Yeah.
And then they
that was good.
stopped the theater program at that school after that, soon after?
Yeah. At the time, I didn't know. Now it's like, well, I think I may know why.
Now, when you
They
think back,
that it was like a big polemic,
like back in Shakespearean times, that's what they did, right?
Yeah.
In Shakespeare times, the boys would wear wigs, to be the girls instead of, having women be the character. But now, if you're going to play a woman role, you have to be female.
Mm.
You got to play a trans role, you have to be trans. You have to be, whatever it is now. If you're going to write for a female, then you have to be a female to write for a female. Like, that's all these things now, which is like,
Complicated.
it's complicated. Like, how do people feel? I don't know how I feel about all that. Like I've written things before and I've asked, if I'm writing something for a Hispanic friend, I will ask my Hispanic friends, how would I say this? What would I think? That kind of stuff. That's what you do for research as a writer.
You do the research.
Yeah.
Otherwise, you don't really need to research if you are like the character.
Exactly. So I just thought, but who knows? That's where things are going now. And is it a big difference filming over there than when you film in the US?
Yes.
Really?
Yes.
Like what are differences?
Different categories, we would say. First of all, I haven't worked like in independent world here in the US because my experience has been with a studio.
Yeah, you poor thing.
Yeah.
He had to be a studio picture. They made $83 million, by the way, what I'm saying, if not more by now. But I'm sorry, but let's go back to the independent, back in Spain.
I think there is like I really enjoy the independent world.
You get a lot of control on that.
You
and
have
it feels
a lot
great.
of control.
Yeah.
It's a little bit like you don't have to address notes really.
Studio notes from the executives at the studio. Yes, you're doing your thing.
I understand when they do that
Sure.
here in studio
We
because
understand
obviously
notes.
it's a movie that has like a huge budget and you have to recover the money
Right.
and you have to address notes in order to please all kind of audiences.
Yes.
That's the
Yes.
process that works here.
Yes.
So that's the refreshing part when you work in Europe, in Spain. Far from all of that, is that you don't really have to think about what is politically correct or what can you or can't show to an audience, or if they are gonna really feel comfortable with a sequence or understand it, or you just can't go with it.
They champion the art. You want to be an artist, do your film the way you want it, and then, people will want to watch it or not want to watch it, and that's how they look at it over there.
I think that's the freedom and the beauty of working independently in Spain. Yeah. And I had a lot of thoughts about this process while I was working in the movie rings. And that's why actually I said, well, after this movie, I need to do something for myself.
Right. You couldn't wait anymore. You had to do something for yourself. The wait was, I'm sorry.
No, it was like, I actually enjoyed the process of this one, despite budget-wise was, as you can imagine, really low, nothing to do with a studio movie.
Okay.
But it is beautiful when you do that in a romantic way. At least I enjoy that because your creativity goes to another places.
Yeah.
Like, when you have so many obstacles,
yeah,
it's a challenge. I remember shooting The Wait at the very end. We have a sequence that is crazy. Either you make it like right and works,
right,
or the whole movie falls apart.
Right.
That's the kind of thing that if you do like an environment with a lot of investment and producers and studio behind,
Yeah.
they would be very nervous and they would probably say like, well, this ending, it's not gonna happen. You know,
Right.
It's too risky to shoot because maybe it looks goofy or you never know till you
Right.
shoot the thing. So those kind of risks,
Yeah.
you just can't go for it.
Yes.
You can go and try something that, I mean, it was like a tricky day when we were shooting that, and we all knew.
Can imagine.
I talked to all the crew and I say like, look, we have to do this right now, otherwise it's not gonna work.
Right.
And everything so far is pretty good.
The whole movie really hinges on that big piece, that set piece.
And it's really tricky. And then, I mean, you have options. And
Yeah.
obviously you're thinking when you are like, especially when you're the writer director, you
Yes.
think like in the hotel the day before, maybe I should just change this.
Oh,
madness.
yeah, exactly.
Be safe and have like a movie that it's gonna be okay. Yeah, there is something cool about saying, you know,
That's great.
we're gonna try that.
And you're in a bunch of festivals coming up.
Yes.
Well, tell me some of the festivals.
Yes, we're officially starting the world premiere. Is gonna be in Oldenburg Film Festival.
Oldenburg.
Yeah.
Is that Germany?
Yeah, in Germany. It's like a European Sundance. they
Yeah,
call
the
it.
European Sundance. That's huge.
It's a very brave festival, I think. That's why I wanted to send it. It's
And
very
you're opening it.
Yeah.
Wow,
It's-
opening film.
Well, no, not opening. It's like opening worldwide.
Oh, worldwide there.
It's a worldwide premiere.
Yeah, though, that's crazy. That's great to do
Yeah,
it there.
yeah, yeah.
My God.
No, it is like and it's a cool festival because they encourage to do this.
The brave,
movies out of
take
the
these
box
chances.
and things
Exactly.
like that. So I think that's important.
wow.
And that's kind of a statement. I'm very happy that they like the movie and
That's
they're
great.
championing the movie there. So that will be the first one, starting the 13th to the 17th of September.
Okay, that's my birthday, so 17th. So
Oh, good.
Yeah, so it's gonna be
The
great.
closing gala.
it's gonna be closing gala.
I'll think about
Think
you.
of me. Yes,
And,
exactly.
Then the 21st,
yes.
we have the North American premiere in Austin. In
Austin?
Fantastic Fest.
Really?
Yeah,
That's
which
great.
I think for fantasy films is like is the best
Yeah.
here in the US.
That's wonderful.
It's a lot of projection and everybody knows.
Good.
Like, and it has like a great selection of movies with all kind of like covering all the spectrum of fantasy. So it's very cool. It will be that
Very
one
cool.
is from the 21st to the 28th.
Okay.
And then I go back to 1 week later to Europe and I do the premiere in Barcelona.
Barcelona.
The Sitges Film Festival.
Wow.
That is another one I love because I grew up watching movies there when I was
Sure.
a kid. I often got the main award in that festival.
Really?
when I
Before the
was
Falls,
The short film.
Oh, the short film.
The short film was
Brazil.
Brazil.
Brazil. I remember
Yes,
Brazil.
yes,
Okay,
yes.
okay. It's on YouTube right now. Yeah, that's great. So you have all these big festivals. I mean, and you're going to be busy for like 3 weeks of
Yeah.
festivals. And stuff.
Yeah, probably more because then we have other ones coming.
Oh, yeah,
These
yeah.
are the three
The-
main
the
ones.
three
It's
main
gonna be
ones.
like the world premiere, the North American
Yes.
premiere, and this premiere in Spain.
Wow. Not the Seville one. That's a different one in Spain, right?
No, this is we shoot in Seville.
Oh, we did?
Yeah, we did.
Oh,
We shoot in Seville.
look at me with my Spanish knowledge
Yeah, but this is in Sitges, in Barcelona.
in Barcelona.
They speak a lot of Catalan there, so your Spanish won't
It won't.
help you there.
It won't help me there. Gregorio, levántese, cierra la boca, siéntese. Okay, I'll know that. I won't go there with my, Spanish. Okay, no big deal. Directing style. Who do you liken your style to? Like, for example, I know some like to rule in fear and some like to rule in love. For example, Michael Bay, big director. Some people say that he could have been a yeller on the set. Whereas people like Clint Eastwood, when he's directing, he's more like, okay, well, we're going to let the camera start rolling. And whenever you're ready, start acting. Like, he's like, let the people do what they want to do. Like, how do you...
I love that.
How do you direct? What's your style? Like, what do you like to portray to people?
I think I'm closer to Clint Eastwood than to.
Go ahead.
Yeah, go ahead.
Direct like me.
I'm not very into yelling. I mean, I have to yell when we are too chill.
Oh, yes.
You know?
Yes. If you feel it's not, yeah.
And then I take over. My first idea is not pushing everything. I just take over and I do it myself. Pretty much of a control freak.
Yeah, it's a control freak, yeah.
All my eyes are all over the place.
Oh.
So everybody knows.
Yes.
And said that.
Oh, okay.
Pretty much.
Well, you've also done everything. You like to do all the roles yourself. So you know the movie. You're writing it, you're directing it, you're producing it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. So it is good. I mean, I think it's usually The sets are great. I think the level of work is high.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
I have a lot of sense of humor, and when there's chaos, I laugh.
It's good. You go the opposite when everything's falling apart and
Yeah.
everyone's losing their shit. You're
Yeah.
like, laughing, and it lightens the mood real quick.
Yeah.
Speaking of mood, also, isn't it true that you direct your lovers in the bedroom and you about to have sex? You're like, and action.
What is that?
I don't know what that means.
What is that?
I don't even know what that means. Now you're going back to Germany for one of your festivals there with the old girlfriend. Is she near that area?
No, well, she's in Berlin,
Oh, okay.
which is very interesting because was the premiere of Before the Fall was in Berlin.
Was in Berlin, yes.
1 year
One
after
year,
we were
yes.
there together.
Right.
So yeah. I mean,
Just trying to figure out the love life of Javier.
it's
like,
well, Julia is still there.
Your friends?
Yeah, I haven't talked to her.
It was sorry, Julia. If you want to say hi to Javier when he's in Germany, it wouldn't be a bad idea. Just say hi, okay?
Well, Oldenburg will be the
Yes,
city.
in Oldenburg. Yeah, travel from Berlin to Oldenburg. Not that far of a travel. Maybe just shoot an email first instead of driving all the way there. Poor guy, you're going to be there and you're like, remember me, you bastard. No, I'm joking. As long as I've known you, you've always been the sweetheart of a guy. So I'm sure that she, no one hates you.
no.
You're not somebody who people hate. So,
It's like a movie.
It's
They
like-
were portraying like a movie sequence. there.
Exactly. F Javier, by the way, because there's another Javier Gutierrez who's an
Oh yeah,
actor.
he's an actor.
So you came after him. So you had to do the F.
Kind of like at the same time,
Oh.
but I was doing short films, so I was
Oh.
not that popular,
Right.
obviously.
Yes.
And then I think before the Fall, my first movie, he exploded. So now
Oh.
his thing is very big. So I always kept the F. Just
Yes,
because
yes.
it's my grandfather name, Francisco.
Francisco.
So I always like to keep it.
Okay.
But actually, it's practical now because it
Yes.
makes a little of a
It-
difference, right?
And by the way, because out here, because you can't, if you're an actor, Michael Douglas, the actor Michael Douglas,
Yeah.
that was his name. He was an actor. And then there was this other guy named Michael Douglas who was up and coming, and he went to get a SAG card. Like, no, we can't have two Michael Douglases. You have to have a different name. So he changed to Michael Keaton.
Oh,
So Michael Keaton's real name is Michael Douglas, but he can't keep his own name because Michael Douglas had his name already. So he had to become.
That's
He
so
said, "I
funny.
like Buster Keaton is a big fan. I'm a big fan of his, so I'm going to take Keaton as my last name, and I'm Michael Keaton."
that's so funny. I didn't know that story.
That's what you learn. The big
great.
things when you come on LINZanity podcast. You know what I'm
That's
saying?
great. That's pretty great.
Javier Gutierrez, thank you so much for being on the pod, buddy. I really
Thank
appreciate
you.
it. And
Thank
congratulations.
you.
Good luck with everything. I can't
Thank
wait.
you.
I can't wait
Yes.
for the wait. Okay, yeah.
In
Worked all day for that
love,
one.
in a